Well, good afternoon, everybody. We want to welcome you back here to this afternoon's The Pastor's Roundtable. We hope you've had a wonderful week. My co-host and I, we've had a great week so far, but as you may know, as you may recall, we are on a little break in between season 1 and season 2, but it's not a long break because on next Sabbath afternoon at 4 p.m., we are right back at it with the premiere of season 2. What we're going to be looking at next week is millennials in the Seventh-day Adventist Church and how they engage mission, how they embrace the mission of the church. We have some phenomenal guests that are going to be with us on next Sabbath, and you don't want to miss it. As a matter of fact, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel or if you've not liked the Pastor's Roundtable page, we need you to do that right now so that you can make sure that you do not miss. And when you subscribe to the Pastor's Roundtable YouTube channel, we want you to not only hit the subscribe button, but there's also that little bell right next to it that's going to make sure that every time we go live or anytime we put new content up, you're going to get a notice of what's going on so that you can keep abreast of what's happening here at the Pastor's Roundtable. We want to thank you so much for all of this love and support, engagement that you showed us during season 1, but we're excited about season 2, and we hope that you will be as well. Today, the guys, we're taking a break this afternoon, one more week until we get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you a rebroadcast of a very fascinating and informative discussion that we had with an organization called ASI. We hope that you enjoy this rebroadcast. If you didn't catch it the first time, we hope that you get some notes, take down some phone numbers, some email addresses, because the resources that are available to the Seventh-day Adventist Church through ASI are just phenomenal. We hope you enjoy. God bless. We'll see you on next week.
With the organized church this week, oh my goodness, ministry in the marketplace.
In the marketplace, yes, sir.
Laid it out any better. We are just so excited. This weekend we were planning to be on site. We wanted to do something different here at the Pastor's Roundtable. We wanted to take this on the road and be on site at the ASI convention. You'll hear more about that in a little bit. And so they went virtual. They were one of the few conventions that were holding out. They were going to have their in-person convention, but just a few weeks ago, they decided to go virtual. We could talk about that a little later.
They're like, we ain't scared of no virus. We're going to do this thing. Up until a few weeks ago.
But so we decided, listen, we'll still make this show a ASI show. And so we are talking about ministry in the marketplace. You'll hear more about that as we go along.
All right.
And so, Dr. Paul, who do we have at the table?
My. Today we have with us, you've heard me call that name already today, Pat Humphreys. Pat Humphreys is a former director in the Southwestern Union and a member of the ASI organization. She's an ASI member. She has supported ASI for many, many years. You may have seen the name in many of our youth publications, as she has been an editor of several of our different publications through the years. Many of you will know her name. So we are so excited to have Pat Humphreys with us today. We also have a dear friend of mine, Philip Baptiste, Pastor Philip Baptiste. He is the North American Division representative for ASI, director for ASI, that go between the division and OSI, and we are excited to have Philip with us. I want to get them on screen so people can see them. Let's see if we got. There we go. There's everybody. We are so happy to have this team with us today. Philip and I go all the way back to when we were at seminary together, working with Ron Whitehead at the Center for Youth Evangelism there at Giraffe University. I don't know if you remember all of that, Phil, but those were good days, and we are excited to have you with us today. And so just before we get into, I got to fix some more of these pictures here. All right. So I'm going to work on that. But just before we do that, Roger, would you go ahead and just lead us out in a word of prayer before we jump into...
Actually, before we pray, we want to also acknowledge the fact that our country is also mourning. we've heard that John Lewis passed away, and C.T. Vivian passed away. And they just laid John Lewis to rest. It was a very emotional week when it comes to thinking about where our country is and where we need to be, and the giants are falling to sleep. But that just lets me know that Jesus is coming soon. So as we talk about ministry in the marketplace, as we talk about the opportunity that is given to many of us to do ministry, let's remember those who are mourning, those who are in need of God's strength during these times. Father, we thank you again for your love, your mercy, and your grace. And Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to meet via this medium. Now, Lord, I pray that you direct us, you keep us, you allow us to have good conversation. We invite those who are coming on to connect and to share with others and begin the process of learning how they can have their ministry in the marketplace, is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 All right. So, Rod, just before you take us into our first question for the day for ASI, I want to just let people know I live in Palm Beach County, Florida. I live in southern Palm Beach County, and that means there's a hurricane that is headed right to my doorstep. I actually live right on the intercoastal, right on the coast. Backyard is the water, almost there, and I'm hearing rain starting to hit against my window. The wind is blowing. I wish I could turn my camera around and you guys could see what's going on out there. So if we lose you in the next few moments, we probably will not be back, because we broadcast all of this stuff from my end down here. And so if we lose our signal, it will probably be because I lost power down here. And if that's the case, we will get you this conversation in its entirety at a later date. But we're going to hang in there right now. It's not terribly bad at all, but it is just started to rain, and the wind is whipping up just a little bit, but it's not terribly bad. I think we're going to make it through. All right, so let's, without any further ado, Raj.
Yes. Well, let's begin. Matter of fact, I shared with you that we are having our ASI show, and we want to. What is ASI? So we're going to throw that out.
It's another Adventist acronym. All these acronyms: MVAY, ASI, GCNAD.
I feel like if we work for the government, ASI. So share with us, what is ASI?
Hey, it's such a pleasure to be with you, and so excited to share. ASI is a department of the North American Division, and ASI exists to equip lay business people, lay professionals, lay ministry people to engage in our mission of sharing Christ in the marketplace. And ASI stands for Adventist Laymen Services and Industries, and it's a department of the NAD, but it came out of it's been around for many years now, and it came out of a desire to just get lay people mobilized and involved in selfless service for the Savior. And every year we have an ASI convention. It takes place the first weekend of August every single year. Right now, we're having our ASI convention. Actually, today, we're on break right now, but today is the final day. We had Mark Finley speaking this morning, and we've just been having an awesome time at that convention virtually. To learn more about ASI, you can go to our website, which is asiministries.org, and you can find out all the information about ASI. In fact, if I could just really briefly, I'm just going to show you. This is the ASI Ministries website right here, and you can find out everything you need to know. And as you can see, our convention is happening now. And the theme of this convention is the Three Angels' Messages, Our Urgent Calling. And so that's what's happening right now. And we currently have about 5,500 people watching and tuned in and registered for this convention virtually. Normally, we have about 2,500 to 3,000. So going virtual actually ended up being a blessing for us. And I want to mention that Pat Humphrey is actually the president of the ASI Southwestern Union chapter. So ASI, I'm the departmental director for ASI and secretary treasurer for ASI, and my office is at the North American division. But then each union has an ASI, what we call chapter, and they have meetings that take place in the spring, and they have a president and secretary treasurer and so on. And so there's opportunities for lay people to be involved, not only at the national level, but at the union level, to get involved and to become a member of ASI with their local ASI chapter as well.
And if I could just add, to that, you'll find on the website, of course, a description of ASI, but just in a nutshell, ASI is an organization of lay people who are passionate about sharing Christ. They love the Lord. They are passionate about touching people's lives, doing ministry, and making a difference in people's lives. And that's what ASI is all about in a nutshell.
So you touched a little bit about the structure of ASI, and maybe, Pat, you could help us. What are some of the benefits does one get as being a member of ASI?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that question, because when people ask me about that, normally people are thinking about organizations. Like I'm a member of a writers and editors organization. And so when people are members of a secular organization and they recruit for that, normally the first thing that people ask is, well, what am I going to get out of this? What are the benefits? And so they start listing all of these benefits, and here's what you're going to get if you join. And in ASI, it's a little bit kind of the opposite, because what we say is, what is the person joining ASI going to contribute to ASI? So what can people do for ASI? So ASI is it's an organization, as I said before, of people that are just passionate about doing ministry. And so I'll just tell you some of the benefits. They're not tangible, but some of the blessings that I've received from being a part of ASI. My husband and I joined ASI actually in the mid-90s, so we've been members for many years. And I'll try to shorten it because there's so many blessings that we get. But I would say one is just the networking and the opportunity to meet people who are passionate about ministry. When you go to a convention, it is just the most exciting experience. Our first convention, we went kind of out of curiosity. My husband had been years before to an ASI convention, but it had grown a lot by the time we went together as a couple. And we were just, we don't know, what is this about? Should we take our kids? Should we not take our kids? And, we didn't really know what to expect. We got there and we were like blown away. We sat through the first meeting because we'd actually really struggled to get there. We had a struggling business. We didn't have a lot of money. We were living in Virginia. The meeting was in Providence, Rhode Island, and we decided, okay, well, it's close enough. We can drive. And so we made a financial sacrifice to go, but we didn't really know what to expect. We got there and we sat through not even the whole first meeting, and we looked at each other and we said, this is worth every dime. I mean, we were just blessed. We had never been in an environment where there were so many people who had stories to share about how they had been blessed and how they had been able to bless other people. And we were just inspired. So that's one of the greatest benefits, really, of being a part of ASI, is just the inspiration that you get. Meeting and networking with people when you go to the meals, and if you ever go to an ASI convention, don't opt out of the meals, because this is the time when you sit around the table and you meet people from all over the world, because ASI is actually an international organization. People typically come from other places as well. And so you meet exciting people, you make connections with people that you would have probably never had an opportunity to connect with. And so there's just so many benefits of being part of ASI. It has been a blessing for us. We hardly ever miss. We have missed over the years a few conventions, but we hardly ever miss a convention. And we just made this the time that we would just set aside. We don't plan anything during ASI week. We put that on our calendar, and this is what we do during that time.
Okay, I got to throw this out here about ASI. I think for many of our listeners, they may not be that familiar with ASI. And for those that are familiar with it or they've heard about it, I want to share, I'm probably going to get in a little trouble for this, but I want to share what my early stigma or association. When I heard ASI as a young person,
you going there already?
I'm going there already. I'm going there already because we're trying to figure out what it is. What is this thing? So we thought about ASI. When we heard ASI, I was always among a lot of young people that had great ideas of what they wanted to do for the Lord, what they wanted to do in terms of ministry. And so everybody was having an idea, and every idea always hits this roadblock at some point. That idea is going to cost something. That idea you cannot do without some resources, without money. And almost every time we had an idea, somebody said, "Oh, you ought to go to ASI because ASI will be able to help, may be able to help fund that." However, in my circles, oftentimes ASI was seen. I got to figure out. Roger, is it now or should I wait?
You already down there?
I'm already okay. All right. So ASI, Philip.
You gotta pray the wind can blow your way.
Yeah, before the wind blows. ASI seemed to be. It was an ultra conservative, white male Adventist, rich people's organization. And so, yeah, they had money and lots of it is how it felt like, and that they could give to help start ministries and whatnot. But it wasn't so much the racial thing that had a stigma to it, but it was really had a kind of ultra conservative stigma that was attached to it. And I'm not even suggesting that that's wrong, but it kept a whole lot of people, at least in my circle, in my sphere, from wanting to either go or to participate, or discourage them from even seeking the kind of resources that may have been there. So first question out of all of that is ASI a place that people go when they need money for ideas for ministry? Because that was always the number one thing. And is it still, or ever was, just a kind of a ultra exclusive white Adventist organization? I don't know if I asked
so I'll
that
take
right,
a stab
you know
at that. So the first question, is it a place where you could go to get money? Yes, 100% yes. Every year, every year we have ASI convention, and one of the things we do, actually, we just did it probably about 2 hours ago, is we collect an offering. Mm-hmm. So last year we collected, I think, about 1.8 million to go to support about 45 different projects, ministry projects. And
wait,
hold on. Yeah, I mean,
you mean yes. Like you passed the offering bucket and got
the offering bucket
1.8
with about 2,500 people and got 1.8 million. Yes,
2,500 right. people and 1.8 million dollars.
That is.
I hope y'all are listening out there. I hope y'all are hearing this. All right. Okay. Go on. I'm sorry.
That is not the full offering. We have something that's called all year giving. So in all, we probably bring in about 8 million or so a year for projects and for ministry. So the project offerings are just to support those projects, but then there's some ongoing projects that we also support. So here's what I'd like to say. I would like to encourage people to go to our website, go to asiministries.org and click under projects and then click under funding. And there's a video by an old guy by the name of Harold Lance. And at first glance, it looks like a very boring video. But if you watch it, it's about an hour long, and it will give you the tips needed to better increase the chances of your funding application being approved. And I'd like to encourage more of my African American brothers and sisters to apply for funding, because as someone that now sits on that committee, the funding application, first of all, is due December 31st of every single year. So you need to start thinking, you need to start planning how you're going to apply. It's due December 31st, then our board meets in February to select the recipients of those funds. And so, I would love to encourage people to apply, because last year we only had 2, I believe, African-American either individuals or organizations.
Wait, hold up. You raised $1.8 million, and you only had 2 from the African-American community apply for that?
That's correct.
That's messed up.
That's correct. So I'm trying to bring greater awareness. I'm trying to travel. I'm trying to go to more churches just so that people can be aware. And maybe in the past, ASI, I think a couple things in terms of being conservative. I think that what it is just like when you go to the general conference session. You go to the GC session, me personally, I love, my good gospel music. I love to praise the Lord. But when you go to the GC session, you've got people from diverse backgrounds, from all walks of life. And so the goal is kind of to take the high road, to not offend. And so the music is more, so I think the ASI music is very similar to GC session music. It's more kind of the calmer, peaceful, not trying to offend any specific person. But in terms of being just for white people, maybe in the past there was more white people that were engaged, but now it's becoming much more diverse. I think you'll see in some of the videos we'll see, and I think part of the reason why they asked me to come is because they want to change that. They want to change that perception, and they want to become a much more inclusive organization, which I think is a good thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I just want to
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add
I just wanted, before you add that, I just want to make sure, some folks are just blown away by the amount of money that was collected. Do you have to be a ASI member to participate in the request?
No, but I will say that, it is probably, it could be a little bit more favorable if you are an ASI member, but we don't necessarily, like, for example, we just, one of the projects we funded this year was for Southwestern Adventist University, and they are, of course, not ASI members. And to be an ASI member, it's one of the qualifications is you can't be a member of a church. So, I'm sorry, you can't be employed by the church is what I meant to say. You have to be a member of a church, but you can't be employed. So you can't be a pastor or part of a church. It truly has to be lay-led. But they were not ASI members, and they're doing a awesome project, and they got some funds. And so there's several organizations that sometimes are not members that are able to get funds as well.
So Roger, you're gonna have to turn in your resignation in order to get some of those funds.
Start being pastoring and start being
but churches can apply for funding. Let me make this very clear. Churches can apply for funding. Conferences can apply. The Mid-America Union can apply. Anyone can apply for funding. And we've given money to church organizations. We supported a project called Cell Phone Evangelism for Adventist World Radio, for cell phone evangelism in all parts of the world. And so many times we like to partner with churches or church organizations that have great ideas for ministry. But Pat, let me let you jump in.
So I just want to point out 2 things. First, I just want to say how thankful we are for Philip and what he has brought to the organization. When we first joined, as we talked about, there weren't a lot of African Americans or Blacks that were part of ASI. And over the years, we've seen a little bit of growth, but I really appreciate what Philip is doing. I think it was 2018, Philip, that you asked Dawn Lewis and myself to operate a booth. We set up a booth at the Pelt Conference in at Oakwood, and people were just amazed as they came by. And so I think really ASI is one of the best kept secrets in the church. You know, and especially in the African American community, but in the church as a whole, it's surprising to see how many people really haven't heard about ASI, or if they've heard about it, they have those misconceptions that you mentioned earlier, that people think of it as kind of an elite rich person's club. Well, I'm here to testify we are members and we don't fit that profile. So
I can attest to that.
So now
an odd of good people.
So ASI is really a diverse organization, and it's becoming even more diverse, and so we're thankful for that. And also, I want to touch on the funding. ASI on a national level, which is what Philip was referring to, has these projects that they fund, and they have an application. There are also at the chapter level, so there are 8 chapters, one in each union. And so depending on where you are, typically the chapters limit their funds to people that are within that territory. But depending on where you live, you can also, at the spring convention of each chapter, they raise funds as well, not on the level of what ASI National does, but still it's an opportunity to apply for funding, and you're actually more likely to get funded at the local level because there are fewer people applying for those funds. And so, you know, if you apply to the chapter level, you may not get as much money, but you're more likely to get funded if you apply. So I want to encourage you to do that. And you can also, at the ASI main website, you can click on chapters and you can go to each of the websites for each of the chapters.
Hey, all right. Listen, before we go much further, Roger, I want to just pause for just a moment and just encourage our listeners. We got a lot of good stuff yet to come, but I want to encourage you. You got an idea. We at Pastors Roundtable, we're trying to keep ministry relevant, resourced, and real. We're talking about some resources right now, and I know you know somebody who's got a project, who's got an idea, and they need to hear some of this information. So we just want to pause right now and ask you to share. Go ahead and share this conversation, share this video on your timeline, tag somebody that you think needs to be here and to hear some of this. I know you know some people who have been trying to figure out how they're going to get this ministry started, what are some resources they can have. This is the place they want to be in the next 45 minutes that we got left. You want to make sure that they're here. So go ahead and share, hit that share button, share this this conversation with somebody, because we got some still good stuff yet to come. We've had some good questions so far. Roger, I don't have my sheet up in front of me, so I'm going to ask you to just carry those questions, and I'm just going to...
Can I just say one quick thing?
Please.
And that is we had just earlier today, during our ASI convention, we had an organization called Shelter from the Storm, which is an African-American organization. It's led by a Black guy that lives in Florida, actually. And he was in prison. And anyways, he has a ministry now to help people that get out of prison, African-American men that get out of prison, find a place and rehabilitate their life. And he's also has a program for women as well. And so they were one of the recipients of ASI funding. So if you have an idea for ministry or for mission, there's opportunities for funding, and there's opportunities not just for funding, but for collaboration, for partnering, for and I think that's one of the great things about ASI is people come together and they find people that have like-minded passions. There's opportunities for mentoring and for people to help you along the way, to help your idea go from the beginning to be able to make a difference.
Wow.
So two things came up in the discussion thus far. One of our viewers, Jennifer, she asked the question: what is the average funding that is given away? Are we looking at maybe a couple thousand, or maybe are we looking at a couple 200,000? You know, what can In other words, sometimes we think we dream small. I mean, are you saying we could dream big? What's the average? What's an average amount that can be asked for?
So there's projects we fund with as little as 5,000, and there's some we funded with as high as 50,000. I don't think I've seen very many higher than 50,000, because if you're talking about a pot of maybe 2 million a year, we want to get it to as many people as possible. So to just give a big amount to one project wouldn't be the idea. And the other thing I'd say is ASI, we will seed your ministry, but we won't sustain your ministry. So you need to have a plan. You need to, have your 501c3 papers in order. You need to have maybe some other sources of income, and then we'll come along and join with that. But we won't usually be the only ones doing that, if that makes sense.
Got you. Listen, Aslan, I think there's a video on mentorship project or mentorship. Could you cue that up and let's see if we could run that? Because what I heard being shared is one of the benefits of being a member is that you connect with like-minded people. And sometimes I may not really understand business, or I may not understand what I'm doing in my life, but I've heard that ASI has a very special program that's involved with mentoring people, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we run that video?
Yeah. So as we find that video, couple things. You guys know that we are straight up amateurs at this stuff. At least I am. And so as I play this video, I got to make sure that you guys are hearing it. So in the chat, if you're not hearing it, or if you have sound, just let me know if you're hearing it. But on the heels of that question, though, as I get that lined up, so the mentorship. So you talked about, Philip, having people who are seeking funds. They need to have their 501c3 papers together. I'm assuming they got to have a good business plan and all that. So when we say mentorship, are we talking about some mentorship in helping people to get those things together, or is this something a little different?
I think that the video would be the greatest help that I could give, and if I could just share the screen for 10 seconds, I just would like to show people where to go exactly. So if you go to asiministries.org and then you click under projects right here, then you click on funding. But at the very bottom, it says watch seminar. So when you go to this watch seminar, there's this seminar by Harold Lance. And if you watch this seminar, it's 1 hour and 6 minutes. It will give you all the kind of step-by-step. It'll be like a mentor walking you through how to create a successful application for ASI that can be sure that can't guarantee it'll be approved, but it'll increase the chances of it being approved.
Okay. All right. So they're not really able to see when you share your screen yet, but I have this up in the background here, and our videos are actually floating on top of that window. So it's not a very clear view, but they can see the website at the very top of the page, the address there where you guys see my cursor going back and forth there, and it is on. And let me move this right where they can see it.
Projects, yeah.
Yeah, under projects. That's going to be right behind Pat. You see that projects template is or menu button is there, and you click on that. All right.
Right below Rogers is where it says watch seminar. Right below Rogers' icon there.
Watch seminar. Yep.
See watch seminar. Yep.
Yeah, got it. So that would be where you would click to see.
Yes.
There it is. Boom.
That's the best kept secret. Yeah.
And looks like we're still trying to hide it behind all this stuff. All right, but
we need to make it bigger. You're right. We need to do that.
All right, we'll work on that. But these links are going to be in the chat. So TJ's going to be sending that out in the chat there from the ASI site. He already put the main link in there, so you can go there and check that out. All right, let me know if this is the right video. We're going to try this video right now.
Have you ever wondered where we began? The spark to begin this movement? Remember.
It took me a long, long time to learn to really believe that all things work together for good to those who love the Lord. I still will have to learn many more things, but I have been led over a path that has helped me to stabilize my faith that great truth can be depended upon if one will only stay by the Lord.
Under her guidance, this college was established. Self-supporting, inspiring, educating, the foundation was laid. Ministries sprang up all over the world. Lay members and church leaders burned to join ministry with the church. ASI was born. Today, ASI continues with the example of the Apostle Paul, sharing Jesus Christ in the marketplace. Business professionals were needed on the team, and as ministry and business united in their efforts, a dynamic network was formed. Every day, ASI members and ministries carry the light to mission fields across the North American division and the whole world.
It's important to be a part of ASI because I'm able to share my gifts with a team of people in so many ways worldwide. It's not just a blessing to the people I teach, it's a blessing to me as well.
Building a one-day church is a really special experience because you get to come in here and these people, sometimes they don't even have a church. They value the church so much. And building it, it's a good build. It's not hard. I didn't have to go through any special training to do it, but the rewards from it are incredible. It's such an experience.
It's a great opportunity to be part of ASI as a business because it's God who gave us these businesses in the first place. And now being a part of the ASI family, I can work together in a strategic way to use my business to multiply the kingdom of God in a way that I never could have done before.
Well, I think that this whole program says two or three important things. Number one, it says I can be involved. No matter who I am, no matter what my skill level or what my talents, I can be involved. And that really is a message for the whole church. The takeaway is we can work together. We can build community that goes beyond what differences we have.
Healing, teaching, training, sharing, proclaiming, building faith, restoring. This is what we do. This is who we are.
The tribulation will bring about good and make one more efficient. If I'd had my way when I started out, I never would have traveled or would never have chosen to travel over a road that had any tribulations. I would have always looked for a road that was free from those. Because as a young man, I dodged every time I could anything that was hard and difficult. Your wisdom is sufficient that you will not dodge any hard thing and take an easy road, because if you get in the habit of doing that, you're going to have a hard time.
We are a team in business and ministry, together, focused on Christ, passionate about the mission of the church, just like you. Join us in spreading the light of the Advent message to the world. What the world needs is Jesus. Remember.
All right. I actually think that was probably the wrong video, but
it was a good video.
It was a good video.
I love that video.
All right. Crystal
But that,
Davidson
but
says that
that
this
video
is
leads
so
me. That
inspiring.
video leads me to yeah. That video leads me to the next question. Um, how is we heard that you said it was ASI was a department of the church. So Philip, share with us how exactly is ASI, if it's a layperson-led organization, how is it connected to the North American Division as a church organization?
Sure, it'd be my pleasure. So ASI is the official department of the North American Division, and I'm the departmental director for ASI. So I'm a departmental director, just like the youth director of the NAD, ministerial director. I'm a departmental director for ASI, but then I'm also the secretary treasurer of the ASI organization. So I and my office is the connecting link between ASI, which is a lay-led organization, and the official Seventh-day Adventist Church. So the president of ASI is a layperson, and all the officers and all the people that work with ASI are lay people. I'm the only person that is paid, and I'm, officially the connecting link, my office, to the church. So I'm the secretary treasurer of the organization, meaning that all the checks that go out, I sign all the checks. I provide financial oversight to the organization. I'm the executive secretary of the organization. And so our office at the NAD, we have 2 full-time secretaries, and the NAD, pays for one, ASI pays for the other. But the nice thing about it is everything runs through the church. All the funding runs through the NAD. Randy Robinson, our NAD treasurer, and I, are on the accounts. So it's a full department of a church, but it's really led by the lay people, and I'm the liaison between the church and the lay people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's excellent. And I just want to add too, just to add a little bit of context. ASI is really the church, the workers of the church, the pastors, all of the administration, along with the lay people working together. And I want to just share this quote with you, because I think that this really embodies what ASI is about. And it says, and you've probably heard this, it comes from an appeal to ministers and church officers. And it says, the work of God in this earth can never be finished until the men and women comprising our church membership rally to the work and unite their efforts with those of ministers and church officers. And so that's really what ASI is about. I think that's kind of the philosophy behind it, that we are working together. Though we are a lay organization, we work along with the church, and we support the mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
So it's not, I just want to kind of push through that quote again. So it's not just conference employees, presidents and secretaries, union level folk. It's not let's say the local pastor, the evangelist, or the Bible workers themselves that are going to finish the work and do this work. It's saying that when the other people who are in the pews get involved in the work of the mission of the church, fulfilling the mission of the church, that this thing is going to get wrapped up.
That's right.
Amen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. This person says, wow, I've been an Adventist. Let me put that as one D. She says, I've been an Adventist all my life, and I've never heard of ASI. Well, that's why we're having this show today. Listen, Pat, there was a video that you shared with me earlier. Roger, is now a good time for us to share that video?
Well, no, not yet. Let me ask you one more question before we get there. I want to get to the project towards the end, because those projects are going to get people excited. They're going to want to say, hey, I want to do that. I want to get involved. And I want to save that as our crescendo. I want to save that as our climax. Because I don't know if I could do it, if I can carry it without those projects. So listen, as a worker in the church, I'll be honest with you, the only thing I heard about ASI has been that's when all the presidents of the conferences, they have a meeting at ASI convention because they want to get close to the money. That's all. I'm not saying that's what they want to do, but that's what we heard. I mean, if Anselm can go, if Pastor Paul can go there with the racial thing, I'm gonna go there with the finance thing. All I knew about ASI was the fact that members were generous in their giving. I mean, you talked about it earlier. 1.8 million in an offering that you picked up in one sitting. My goodness. Could you imagine? What drives members to be so generous being a part of this organization? Can any one of you share? I mean, I know Pat is a member, and but what drives the members to be so generous?
Well, I'll take a stab at that. I think that ASI members are generous because, first of all, they're committed. They are committed to this message and to the commission that God has given us. And they realize that, this stuff it's temporary. They're tired of building barns and gathering up stuff, and they realize, I better put my stuff, my money, my funds, my resources into the only thing that's going to have any value, any lasting value. And so they are committed to taking their funds and their resources and putting it into the Lord's work.
I got to do it, Roger. Sorry. I got to push that a little bit further. Come on now. I pass an offering plate in my church every single week, and I'm not picking up $1.8 million. I got folks, some of the same folk that are sitting in some of these churches every week. Why are they leaving the local church offering and putting money in ASI? Let's answer that question, because that's a question. There are local churches that are struggling, and their people are same people, but some people are deciding we're putting our money in what's happening as what's the draw to ASI as opposed to what's happening in the local church building or in the local conference. What's going on with that?
Well, I think that ASI members, a lot of them have what I call passion for mission and ministry and capacity. So they've been able to combine their passion with the financial capacity to be able to propel ministry forward. And the donors of those huge offerings that I mentioned, they're not leaving money from the local church. They're giving their tithes and offerings at the local church, but once a year they make this huge sacrificial gift. And we have some really, God has blessed ASI. They have some really, there's some multimillionaires, there's some very influential people that own businesses and so on that are part of ASI. But I think let me just share a quick story. When I was a kid, I would be like 5 or 6 years old, and my friends would come over, and I would do something that would drive my parents crazy. I would take my toys and I would wrap them up in lined paper, and I would write my friends' names on my toys, and I would give away my toys. And my parents were like, "Philip, what are you doing? Like, we bought these toys. Why are you giving away your toys?" And I would say, "But Mommy, isn't it more blessed to give and to receive?" And they didn't know what to do with me because, I just gave away my toys. And I think the members of ASI have that mindset. So it's not about just a bunch of rich people that are coming together. There's rich people, yeah, but there's poor people. There's people that are struggling. But the point is that their attitude is, I'm willing to give. I'm willing to give. And so when they join ASI, they're not saying, okay, what are their membership benefits? They're saying, how can I be of service? How can I get involved? They believe in total member involvement, so that you're not just coming to church to sit on a pew and hear a good sermon on Sabbath, but God is calling each person to get involved in ministry and service. And I think some of those projects and just the results and the accountability that ASI brings to those projects is what kind of propels people to give and to make a difference.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on that too. Also, Philip brought out something very important, because when people I think there's a misperception among pastors and among the membership that when ASI is in a church or members are in a church, that it's actually drawing away funds or drawing away from whatever that church is doing. But I would say that wherever you have an ASI member in a church, you are going to have a vibrant church. And ASI members, they don't just give to ASI projects. Giving is a way of life for ASI members. And so they give wherever the need is. And so if you have ASI members in your church, you have a blessing in your church, and you're going to have a more vibrant and live church by virtue of the fact that they're there.
And they're innovative in ministry. Like we have a CEO that is an ASI member, and he's a multimillionaire. But he said, I want to reach other CEOs with the good news of the Adventist message. So he took the New Beginnings evangelistic series, which ASI developed. Mark Finley wrote the sermons. They're available for free on asiministries.org. And he rented out a big, beautiful hotel resort. And he invited like 30, 40 other CEOs. And he says, listen, I can't get CEOs to come for, 5 nights a week for 4 weeks to do an evangelistic series. So he invited them for a weekend retreat from Thursday to Sunday. And in that weekend, he preached and shared in different presentations all 26 sermons from the New Beginnings series. And he is baptizing and reaching other CEOs through this innovative method of, let's rent a nice resort, bring CEOs together, and I'm going to preach to them the good news of the Adventist message. I mean, these are the type of people that are involved in ASI.
Wow, that's awesome.
Before we go too far, Pat, someone asked, one of our viewers asked, they wanted to get where exactly could they find the quote that you shared. If you can share with them.
Okay, the one about
the work of God will never be finished until
that comes from, I know if you go on the website, the ASI website, you will find it if you just type in, but it comes from an appeal to ministers and church officers, page 7. And if you go to the E.G. White Writings website and you just type in even a portion of that quote, it will come up. And I think it's found in other places too. I just don't have those references, but that's where I got it.
So what you're sharing, we were kind of funny when it came to the fact that we talked about the offering. But as we talked about what drives the members to be generous, you actually laid out some things that I'd like to see every member have. Not just to be on the generous side, but to be committed to mission, to be committed to finishing the work. Too many of our members tend to be willing to sit in the church and see what God's going to do and not want to be willing to be used by God. But I'm sensing that ASI members may have been cut from a piece of cloth. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and we have a couple of video clips. There's one of Alex Bryant. There's a couple of other ASI members in like 90 seconds. If you were to show some of them at some point, I think you would get a sense from their words of what drives them.
Yeah, and Debbie Young made a statement last night when she was doing the offering. She always does the ASI offerings in action, or members in or ASI offerings in action. And she said, a lot of people say that ASI is about the money. And she said, I say it's about the mission. And that's what it is. And also Garwin McNeilis, who started this one-day church project. We were there, I believe it was in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I don't remember the year, but when that project was launched, he presented that project and people were so moved. And my husband and I looked at each other when they announced the offering. The offering was $4.5 million. And we were just wowed. But why? People were just moved by this mission and what it was going to do to transform people's lives and how they were meeting this need for churches to have their own church building. And so that's what it's about. That's what drives it. It's mission that drives this thing.
Hey, awesome.
That's awesome.
So another viewer asked a question about the connection of how a church can apply for the funds. So we know about individuals applying for the funds, but as an organization, say a church, is there different set of rules for churches as opposed to individuals who are?
If you watch that video, he goes through every different type of application and the steps. And pretty much churches can apply. If you have an innovative project that is going to be reaching the community or is going to be, I think one of the important things with ASI is we don't just want to, build wells or help people that are struggling, but we want to introduce them to the gospel, to Jesus, and to the good news of the Adventist message. We want to engage in sharing hope and wholeness. So if your project is just to serve the community, but it's not coupled with sharing hope and wholeness, as we say in the North American division, then it's not going to be approved. So make sure that those two things are combined together.
Well, listen, I guess we need to get there. People are asking, what are some of the projects? Let's show a video. I think, Anthony, you like the Picture Roll project. And maybe you could find that video, Pastor. But maybe we can show that video and then we can talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so actually I don't have that one, but I do have the Amarillo one queued.
Okay.
Yes.
Similar concept. And is that okay, Pat?
So the Amarillo, let me just give you a little introduction. This is actually a project that our chapter in the Southwest, this is not an ASI national project, but this is what we do on a chapter level. And so this is.
Okay, here we go.
We're excited of what's happening here in Amarillo. We're excited of all the volunteers and individuals that are helping out. From the Texas conference, I think it is great also. We have contributed financially so that this was possible. So we're planning probably in the near future to see if we can do this also in other parts of our conference. And we're thankful and grateful for all those that are here and are helping out.
This is Amarillo, Texas, nestled on the high plains of the Texas Panhandle, where more than 200,000 people call home. This friendly and bustling city is a gateway to the popular tourist site Palo Duro Canyon State Park. Amarillo is also home to the famous westward Route 66. In August of 2019, nearly 200 volunteers from around the U.S. converged on the Amarillo Seventh-day Adventist Church to host Jumpstart Free Health Clinic, a ministry of the Southwest chapter of ASI, Adventist Laymen's Services and Industries. Bobby Harris, pastor of the church, was instrumental in the local planning.
What this is about us being a center of influence for the community. Not just be within our own church, but being part of the community. And truly the only way we can do that is to reach out. But that is what this brainstorm of ASI and the Southwestern Union have come together to produce for us. And that has given us the opportunity to not only reach them spiritually, but their physical needs too. Our medical ministry is probably one of the most important ministries we can have. It's just an incredible thing I'm so excited about.
Jumpstart Free Health Clinic collaborates with churches and community organizations to deliver completely free health services through mobile multi-specialty clinics. The services offered at a Jumpstart Free Health Clinic are usually tailored to the needs of the local community. With the rising costs of healthcare and with so many millions of people that do not have adequate insurance, Jumpstart Free Health Clinic fits the bill and the price is right. Free!
The church needs to pull the people together that really want their church to become a center of influence for their community. And so the best way is to start working with your church members, assessing your community, evaluating what their needs are, and then if you've determined that the health ministry is one of the ways that you would like to connect with the community, then contact Jumpstart and we'll be happy to come out and help you.
The night before Jumpstart opened its doors at 7 a.m. on August 25th, the patients eagerly began to line up as early as 8 p.m. As the doors opened, patients were ushered to registration and then to triage to determine their needed services. Services offered at Jumpstart Amarillo were medical, dental, vision, massage. And for the first time ever, even pet grooming. The Amarillo Church, which owns this shopping center, provided the perfect venue for a medical clinic. The church operates a clothes closet and food pantry as part of their outreach to the community, which were included in the many services offered at Jumpstart Amarillo. 507 happy people were provided with services, from medical exams to vision and dental care to massage therapy. Nearly 100 people received medical consultations, 50 teeth were pulled, 124 people received an eye exam and a prescription for a new pair of free eyeglasses. In addition, 8,500 pounds of food were given away and 109 people received clothing. All this provided free of charge. It was his mission to bring men complete restoration. He came to give them health and peace and perfection of character. We can tell people that we love them, but it's another thing to show them.
One of our, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
So one of our members participated in the 2015 GC, prior to GC Jumpstart, or the Pathway to Health, which all of you probably are familiar with. And so she was so inspired by her experience that she said, she came to us and she said, hey, why don't we do one of our own? And so that's how Jumpstart Free Health Clinic actually got started. And this has been kind of the ministry that we have focused on in our chapter. We've had several of these events. The last one that we had was in January. We were actually at the World Harvest Outreach Church, which is part of Southwest Region Conference, earlier this year in January. It seems like it's been ages. And now since COVID came along, we are somewhat at a standstill because, obviously we can't do clinics as we once did. So we're praying and we're planning and really wondering, how can we take this ministry when people are hurting? A lot of people have been doing Zoom conferences and using technology, but when people are hurting, when they're sick, when they need the human touch, a Zoom conference just doesn't get it. And so we are a bit challenged right now with how we're going to do ministry going forward. But I believe this is God's work, and I believe that He is going to open the door once again for us to be able to minister directly to people and make a difference in their lives. And so this is what we're about in the Southwest chapter.
Yeah, you raise a very valid point about people needing that human touch, and it's where there are circumstances now. But I couldn't help it. There was that clip where the lady was pulling teeth, and she was doing this with that thing in the lady's mouth. I was like, I could do without some human touches too, right?
Would cause a little bit of pain to relieve pain.
Yes. But I mean, just so many awesome things in that video. And somebody brought it out. Did you say that the church owns the shopping center? Listen,
yes, that's why we thought that this was an ideal location, because they have this whole strip mall. They own all of the units. I think a couple of them are still rented out, where they have a couple of years on their lease, but for the most part, it belongs to them. So they've started these ministries, and the vision of the pastor really is, as he said in the video, he wants to make this church a center of influence. And I believe that this event that we held last year, because people didn't know, a lot of people in the community had never heard of the Amarillo Seventh-day Adventist Church. Now you've got hundreds of people who now know that not only is there a church, but there's a place where I can go and I can get food, I can get help, I can, my needs can be ministered to. And so that's what it's about. It's about being a center of influence in the community. They actually took the sanctuary of the church. They have chairs, they're not pews, that are stationary. So they actually moved the chairs out of the sanctuary and turned it into a triage center. What better way, what better use for a church than to make it into a place of ministry? This is so exciting.
Wow.
So when a member comes to you to say, hey, let's try this, and the chapter says, hey, we're going to join them, not only do you give financially, do you give the oversight in terms of project management, bringing in, or do they have to do all of that and you all just kind of be sponsors with the money?
So are you talking about as far as doing the clinics?
Yeah, well, yeah, that particular project. Was there other insights that were given from the chapter, or was it just the fact that we gave money to it?
Oh, that actually was an initiative of our chapter, and so it was a collaborative effort. The Texaco conference, you saw the president at the very beginning of the video. They gave, I believe it was about $30,000 to make this happen, and so our chapter is not, a very rich chapter. And so we don't have those kind of funds. So fortunately, we were able to collaborate with them and also their community agencies. So whenever we do events like this, we always make it a collaborative effort. There are business people in the community. When we did ours in Killeen, we had business people who contributed financially. We had the Adventist hospital there, which was a blessing in that community, which we didn't have in Amarillo. And so we, work with the resources that are in that particular community.
So say I come to you as a member, or even as just a member in the pew, and I say, hey, I have this idea, and are there other services you provide other than funding or seed money? Do you help with developing the idea, connecting to other businesses, sharing it with, or is it that I just got to go alone and make it happen?
Well, we haven't done, outside of the medical clinics, we haven't done a lot of that. But for example, there is another congregation in Dallas, City Temple, that has reached out to us. In fact, we've had several churches reach out to us for our help, and so we work along with them. But we developed, in the process of doing these clinics, we've actually developed a form that people have to fill out, and they have got to make a commitment. They have to fill out the form, and they have to indicate who do they have in their congregation, what they have to make a commitment. In other words, we don't do the work for them. It has to be something that they are willing to put in their time, their people, their resources. And so we just kind of help facilitate, and we want to make it happen, but we expect those who are coming to us for help to put in their resources as well, and their time.
So share with us, maybe we may not have the video, but share with us some of the other projects you've heard ASI members take on, or chapters take on.
I do have that other video, Pat, if you wanted
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. This is not the one, I think, Roger, that you're looking for, but it's another project. I think I saw.
Do you have the one with the NAD president at all, or Alex Bryant?
This is the one I'm looking at now. Is the NAPS one?
Okay.
The GEM one. I think this is the one I think, Pat, you participated in.
Okay.
Well, I didn't participate, but we actually were, we selected them as one of the projects that we wanted to fund at our spring convention, which unfortunately was canceled. But ASI National at the spring virtual convention selected this project as one that they were going to fund, and they actually funded them $15,000. So it's a wonderful project.
Let's see it.
I think I saw somebody from NAPS on here a little while ago. I saw a DP3 name come up. Let's see. Here we go.
My name is Janine Henley.
My name is Madeline Gustav.
I'm Elisa.
GEMS is the NAPS Medical Missionary School.
It stands for the Global Evangelism and Medical Missionary School. And it's actually a school where we're able to reach souls for Christ through the medical missionary work.
The poor condition of the community that we work in, not only their need for education, but also for health resources. We decided to start a medical evangelism school that helps not only educate people on how to best live a healthy life, but educate them and share with them the one that can give them life eternal, which is Christ, and draw them closer to Him. What I love most is being able to really just kind of follow in the footsteps of Christ. I like being able to practically apply what I learned. When we take those classes, we're not just taking it for the sake of having knowledge, but we actually get to implement it when we have guests that come for health sessions or people in the community that are having different issues. We're able to immediately apply it, do hot and colds or any other treatments to help with their issues.
As it is a school, you could imagine there is the traditional classes where we have lectures on various subjects. You get a lot of immediate application. So whereas I would normally just be in a classroom and go through books and study for tests, we're able to actually go out in the field and plant the plants we're learning about and see what they're actually doing to help the body. And in addition to the agriculture that we're able to do, we're also able to go out and minister to people in the community.
Well, we do a lot of outreach. Like I said, we do have classes like anatomy and physiology, plant biology, cooking class, soap making, construction class, agriculture class. But a lot of it is outreach where we're able to take the stuff that we learn in class and actually practically apply it.
Work that we do as medical missionary students is a means to ultimately reach a soul. Yes, we learn the natural remedies and ways that, people can receive healing physically, but ultimately the goal is to bring spiritual healing and ultimately bring the gospel. And this actually has opened the door for so many people to receive the gospel and receive the truth. And ultimately that is the goal.
All right. Wow. Looks like we lost Philip.
Oh.
But all right.
But okay, so that was awesome. I'm familiar with NAPS being their and they kind of got there, and it's good to see that the program is still continuing. What suggestions would you give to help individuals connect to the organization? I know you talked about the website, but are there other ways that they can connect to ASI? Anyone?
I didn't quite hear your question, but you're breaking up a little bit. But I did want to share that we have the New Beginnings Evangelistic Series. Now, this series of sermons was written about 20 years ago by Mark Finley. And last year, we had a request from Paco, who's the General Conference Associate Youth Director. You guys know Paco. And for Global Youth Day, they wanted after Global Youth Day to have 7 sermons to actually have young people around the world preach in 4 different languages: French, English, Spanish, and Portuguese. And so we completely redesigned those sermons and made them in modern HD for a youth audience. And it was so well received that now all 26 sermons are a youth-oriented. We have a youth version of New Beginnings, And we've also done a brand new version as well. And that's all available at asiministries.org. And so the New Beginnings is designed to be evangelism in a box. So if you've never preached a sermon before, if you're a layperson and you don't know how to preach, or even if you're a pastor and you're just busy, you can take these sermons and preach them. Ivan Williams, our ministerial director, just preached the youth version of this series a couple months ago at Jerome Hurst Church in Cleveland, Ohio, and he loved it. It was an awesome event. So I wanted to just share my screen, or maybe Anselm, you can show on the screen. But if you just go to asiministries.org and click on media, and then click on New Beginnings, all the sermons are right there, and they're available for. You click on media and click on New Beginnings. They're available for immediate download, and you click on Special GC Youth Edition, and there's beautiful sermons, there's 75 slides per sermon. So part of what ASI wants to do is to empower lay people, young people, on how to engage in sharing Christ in their marketplace, whether that's preaching or whatever that is. And so you can download the sermons, play them right there, and the script is right there. So literally, you can read it. You can, it's very well done, very beautifully illustrated. So I wanted to share that as well. And right now we have a new initiative that we just started called the 3 a.m. Call. So if you go to the 3amcall.com, this is a website we've just launched this weekend to empower and equip people on how to share the three angels' messages. And so we have sermons, even newer edition of New Beginnings, a brand new adult edition with fresh graphics. We've spent about, I think, $200,000 on that new series. So we have brand new sermons, and we have classes that you can take to equip you in how to better share your faith. So I wanted to kind of give you those options and those resources as well.
Yes, I can say from a personal perspective that I haven't had a chance to preach from the new version, although I did get a chance to edit them, but I have had the opportunity, not necessarily through ASI, but to use those materials, and they are wonderful. And I've been to Zambia, I've been to Zimbabwe, and I am not a preacher. I'm just a layperson, but the Lord blessed, and the materials are a wonderful resource, and it's a wonderful way to get people like me who don't have pastoral training. We haven't taken hermeneutics or any of those courses, but we can still utilize these resources that ASI has made available and make an impact, a powerful impact on people's lives. I also want to share that I don't have all the details yet, but just this past week, Adventist World Radio reached out to our chapter. They are collaborating with ASI, and it's again another collaborative effort with the local union, with two of the conferences, Southwest Region Conference as well as Texas Conference, and they are planning an initiative where they want to train 1 million people. And I believe this is going to be a worldwide initiative, not just in North America, but this is a wonderful opportunity for lay people to be trained to use, now that we, of course, are all kind of stuck with this social distancing and not being able to hold meetings as we normally do. They are planning to train lay people to give evangelistic meetings via Zoom. And so this is something that any church member can participate in. In fact, they want as many people as possible to take advantage of this. And so this is exciting. It's still in its infancy, but be on the lookout. And I'm sure that ASI, because ASI is integrally involved with this project, I'm sure on the website they'll have updates about it, and as well as AWR. So,
and every Wednesday we have something called ASI Hour. So if you go to asiministries.org, you can check it out, and we we have every week, it's a different training for 1 hour. So it rotates. So 1 week it'll be about business. So like how to succeed as an entrepreneur in your business. And the next week it'll be about ministry, like how to start a ministry. And so there's different practical trainings that we're having every week through ASI Hour as well.
Awesome. Listen, the time went, but we are truly at the end of our time here today. I want to ask permission. Some of you shared a lot of videos with us. Is it all right if we could post some of those in our chat?
Please do. Please do.
Be able to look at them?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And what I was asking was about, I know you shared a lot of going to the website, and it makes sense to be one place to connect. But are there any other places that people can connect to ASI members or ASI as an organization? There are outlets they can connect with?
Well, we would encourage people to go to asiministries.org and click on membership and then click on join now. If you go to asiministries.org, click on membership and join now, you can apply to be an ASI member. And young professionals, we have an awesome young professionals membership category. It's only $25 a year. And that's if you're between the ages of 18 and 35, you can be a young professional member. Or there's different types of membership. So there's like a professional membership if you're a doctor or a lawyer or a business person. There's a nonprofit membership if you have a business that's for-profit. So all the membership categories are there. And the process is you apply, you don't pay anything to apply. Then there's a recommendation that's gotten from your church pastor, your local pastor, the conference, and the union. That's forwarded to our membership committee. And then we vote on those new memberships once a month. And that's how you become an ASI member. And we would love for all of you to become ASI members.
And just to add to that very quickly, be sure to get involved. Once you join the national organization, you automatically become a part of the chapter where you reside. And my husband and I were members of ASI for years before we even realized that there are chapter activities, that there was a spring convention and that so this is the way to connect. If people want to connect and in between yearly conventions, this is the way that through your local chapter that you can stay connected.
Can you play at least Alex Bryant's video, just 90 seconds before we go? Our new NAD president. I know I sent that video, and I think it'd be good for people to hear what our NAD president has to say about ASI.
Yeah, I don't think I have that one in this lineup.
It's in the drive. Yeah, we may have it lined up for that.
Yeah, I know you sent it.
Or one of the other ones, one of the other 90-second ones, maybe.
I don't have the 90-second ones. I think I should have one of them. Let's try this.
The one I sent you, maybe? The first one I sent you? You might have that one.
You sent me a whole bunch. What I'm saying is I don't have them lined up and ready to play. The challenge with that. But let me see.
We will make sure that they're in the chat so that folks can go in and see them, because we just want you to know that we want to thank you, both you, Philip, and Baptiste, who is at the NAD, and Pat Humphreys, who is at in the Southwestern Union, still leading there as the president chapter there. But as a member, we thank you both for your time and energy. Come and share and explain. Many of our viewers all said, wow, we did not know about this resource. And so I believe that after this weekend, there might be an uptick in membership. Come on now. So we're just looking forward to what God is going to do in ministry, through the ministry in the marketplace.